Okay, let's press on. The next thing that I want to do is use model collection. So let's create a new file here called use model collection. And as I mentioned before, this is more just dealing with a collection of models. All right, use model if you want to deal with one model, use model collection if you're dealing with multiple models. All right, so we'll say here export default, uh, default. And right, we can start building this out now. So once again, we'll be using use model API. So let's jump into use model and steal some of the code at the top here. Maybe that much of it. Might just do that. Close that off. And then do our return at the bottom here. And we're not using any of this yet, but we probably will. All right, so let's just comment that out for now. All right, so let's start with, let's start by building out what we want the API to be because we haven't actually looked at this yet. I'm imagining we want to be able to say IDs, where you can say what the IDs you're looking for are. I want to be able to say index. So I want to be able to get all of the models, basically fetch all of the models. What else? At some point, I want to do filters. I don't think I'll do filtering right now, though, so we won't do that for now. We want to be able to get the collection itself. Now, this is going to be something we can set, I think. So we can set the IDs ourselves if we want. And then we'll have another one called collection IDs. Maybe something like that, which is going to be different. So you can basically set the IDs so that it's filtered by whatever IDs you want to set. But then you can say collection IDs to basically get the resulting IDs. That's kind of what I'm thinking there. Yeah, okay, I think that makes sense. So let's come up here and we'll also say const IDs is equal to an empty ref, and we'll make that an array by default. Then we'll have the function here called index. And for index, how's that going to work? This is going to be an async function, and then we'll await model API.index. Now we've received the model class in here for getting our collection. Let's get rid of that on the side. So model API, when that takes in that, so I think we literally just have to call index, and that's going to work. Yeah. Next, am I getting this right? Use model API. Yeah, okay. Just figuring things out in my head. So now once that's fetched, that'll automatically put it in the store for us as well. And that's it. So that actually doesn't do anything else. That's nice and simple. The next one we want is to be able to get the collection or to get the IDs. So you can set the IDs here, and then basically that's going to mean that it filters it by those IDs. So let's say const collection is equal to computed. Now we're going to need ref and we're going to need computed. So let's uncomment that out. So if IDs dot value, so let's make that not an array by default. And we can say here array dot is array. So basically, if we have an array of IDs, then we're going to filter it by those IDs. So in that case, we will return model class dot, and I think, let's just go into Vue.xorm documentation. There's like a where ID in, where retrieving, where ID in. Oh, a bit of thunder outside. I don't know if you heard that, but we got a bit of thunder here over in Tamworth, Australia. So where clauses, I'm sure there's like a where ID in. Yes, there is. So we can say query dot where ID in. See, this is where TypeScript would be awesome when you're dealing with this more intricate stuff with libraries, because it doesn't know that this is a Vue.xorm model, whereas if we were using TypeScript, we could tell it that it is. So I don't get the typing here. That's what, which is kind of annoying. But anyway, we're ID in, and then we say IDs dot value. So in other words, if we have an array of IDs, then we're going to filter it using those IDs. Otherwise, we're just going to return our collection, which will be a model API, no, not model API, model class dot or. So we're just going to get all of them otherwise. Okay, so I think that might be all we need, at least for the app that we're building at the moment. So that means I can now come down here and expose that collection. We'll expose index as well. We want to expose the IDs just in case you want to specify IDs. I don't even think I'm going to need this, but might as well implement the functionality. And that's pretty much it. This actually turned out to be a lot more basic than I thought it would. Oh, actually, we're going to need all that loading state related stuff as well with the use model API. So let's come down here and have a look at what we actually want in here. And by the way, I just realized in use model, so let's jump into use model. We shouldn't be using indexing here. That doesn't make sense because you can't do indexing with use model, but you can with use model API. Was it API service? No, model API. So let's see if I can get this right. Accidentally added everything now. So do I need the underlying data? No. Error, yes, we want access to that. User ID, I don't know, we don't need access to that. We want to know if we are indexing. So yes, we do want that. And that's it. Now, I could just say loading here, but I might want to do searching in the future as well. So that you want to be able to know the difference between indexing state and searching state. And I think that looks good enough. So let's come in here. And I'm actually going to get rid of all of this for now. Let's kind of start from scratch here. And I'll even get rid of use model. And let's just see if we can get the collection. So const, and let's pull the collection out. And we could probably just do this on this line. And we're going to pull that out of, is this streaming? I think it is. Yeah, it says that it's streaming. Scroll to the wrong point on my screen. So I'm just going to quickly look on the right side here. I'm getting weird stuff with my streaming. All right, I think that's working fine. All right, so pulling collection out of use model collection. We might also have to come in here and name it properly. Use model collection. There we go. Use model. Yep, there we go. So now we can easily import that. And we're going to send through note there. So basically, we want to be able to index all of those notes. We've got that. We've also want that index command. And whether or not it's indexing, because we'll want a loader as well. Oh, we might do that in a second, though. So let's come back here. And then straight away, we're going to call index. And when it's done indexing, we want to say v-4. And instead of just saying collection, I'm going to say notes. So now I can say v-4 note in notes. And then we can set the key equal to note.id. There we go. And then how about we just spit out the note.note. I think that's it. So let's save that. No doubt something will go wrong. Oh, actually, it just looks like nothing went wrong. And there you go. How fast is that? Man, Supabase is stupid fast. That's crazy good. All right, so let's get this laying out properly. I'm going to say class is equal to full width. We're just going to sort of play around with this a bit now. I probably want to say Q dash margin or maybe medium. Let's go with that. Yep. And then this is going to be inside of a Q card section. And there we go. And what else can we do here? How about we just make this editable and we'll just get rid of the border. Maybe that's the best way to do it. Yeah, we might do that in a... What's the best way to do this? Well, another thing I want actually before I move on is a loading spinner. So I'm going to put this inside of a div. Let's just see what happens if I do that. Okay, so we want to add some width to that div now. So class is equal to full width. Actually, do I need to do that? If I pull out a little bit here, yeah, nah. Full width. There we go. It's not going over to a new line. What am I doing wrong here? I'm terrible at the CSS stuff. It's just not my jam. How about this? Let's turn this into a full width row. And each of these is just going to be sitting within that row. So that should work now. And it does. All right. So instead of Q margin or medium, I'm going to put all of these inside of their own div. That just gives me a little bit of extra control here. So let's take that iteration and put it in there. And then this will be the one with, this will have padding. So Q dash padding or medium. Medium's a bit much, say small. There we go. This is each of our notes. Padding all small. The problem is here, why am I getting this kind of gap in there? It's probably got something to do with the way flex is being used. We don't need that. And we don't need text center either. I don't think we actually need any of this. Let's save that. Yeah, there we go. Makes a bit more sense. And we'll just put a title in there saying that it's notes. H1 maybe? Notes. Yep, that'll do. And then let's just make these inputs. So I'm going to... Yeah, okay, by this point you probably want to turn this the input into its own form. So let's create a new component and we'll call this note form.view. Throw in a template there. And then I'll come in here and say q-form. And now what's this going to take in? We'll say const props is equal to an object. This will be, sorry, define props. So do we want the note itself? Yeah, this is just a note form. We'd probably make a note card and then a note form. That might be better. And then we can do the logic for saving it and all that on the card. And the note form can be agnostic to all of that. I like that better. All right, so we'll keep note form. We'll create a new file here called notecard.view. Once again, a template. And this is going to be a q-card. And then I'll say here note form like so. What else? And then we can say here v-model, and specifically I want to model the text, which is the note, is what we called that. Do we need to model it? Note card. Yeah, we'll put the model on there. So then we can say is equal to note, and we'll come in here and we'll say const note is equal to a ref, and that'll be an empty string by default. Okay, now let's jump into the note form. And this takes in note, required true, and it is going to be a string. All right, so then in the form itself, we have a q-input, and we'll v-model, no, we'll set the model value of that equal to the note. And then what we want to do is say when this is inputted, and I think there's some composables for this in view use, so I might look into that later on. But for now, we'll say at update, what is it? Model value. Say const emit here. is equal to define emit, and one of them is going to be update model value. So then we can take that value and we can emit the value by calling, but it won't be update model value. Actually, this will be update note. So update model value, we emit update note with that value. Cool. I think that looks good. Compile a macro. What is this? For declaring a component's emitted event. The expected argument is the same as the component emits. I don't get it. What am I doing wrong here? Okay, props is not used, so that does make sense. Define emits is not defined. Oh, is this because my linter is outdated? Yeah, I think it is. Package.json. Quasar is still on an earlier linter, so let's just change ESLint to 8.0.0, and we'll close our server down, and then we'll run a yarn, well, just a yarn to pull that later version in. And then there's like something you can do to enable like those macros. So let's say view lint, ESLint, here we go, this is it here. And define props. env. Maybe it's back in the home page here. User guide. I think it's in here. Define props. Yeah, here we go. So inside of my ESLint, I want to have this inside of env. So let's go to .eslintrc. Let's look for that env section. There it is there. And we want to paste that in. View setup compiler macros. All right, and we're probably gonna have to restart VS Code as well. So let's save that, close it down, start him up again. We can probably close out of this. All right, so I'm gonna give that a little second to load. Do a quick save. And it looks like that has actually worked. Cool, all right. What was I up to before we ran into that linting stuff? Yeah, so basically it's just a proxy for now, basically, this note form. I'm just trying to get my code nice and organized. This is just in charge of like managing the form for the note. And then we go out one, we got the note card, and we're going to give it a little bit more responsibility. So we can now say const, and this will have stuff like loading state and all that sort of stuff. Is equal to use model. And this is going to have to receive props. That actually gives us the note itself. So const props is equal to define props. And we want to pull out of define props. We want to add in here. Oh man, my brain's having a hard time right now. Does the note card take in the entire note or just the ID? I think the entire note. Yeah, so let's say note required, true, you can't have a note card without a note. Type is equal to, that'll be an object. And now we can say use model and pass through the note there. And now in here we can pull out of use model the model itself. So then note here is going to be model dot, in this case it'll be dot note, And I don't know why I did that. I don't know why I said note to a ref there. And I think that might be it. Let me close out of that. Let's just see what we get so far. I've done a little bit too much coding without testing. So we'll now come into our index page. Here it is here, the user dashboard. For note in notes, we're iterating over them. Instead of a cue card, we're now going to be using a note card. Let's see if we can auto import that. Note card, yeah, there it is. And that is going to have to receive the note, which is equal to the note. Now, no doubt I'll get some sort of errors here. Oh, I have to start my server up again. Oops, Quasar dev. There you go. We get out of that. Give it a second to run. By the way, while that's running, let's go in here and change history mode. Change this to history mode. No, not hash, history. And oh, it looks like something's gone wrong. And in dev server, there it is there. I hate it when open is set to true. I'd rather just control click it because sometimes I'm restarting the server and doing stuff like that. Now, what's this ESLint problem? So do I have to run a yarn upgrade? I might have to actually yarn upgrade to make sure I'm pulling in the right ESLint. And that should allow me to then use this setting. env and set up compiler macros. Is it still linting? Let's try that. Save it. Okay, my lint is stuffed. Bugger. Let's just wait for this to install and then I'll close code and open it again. Give it a second. All right, let's just close code. Jump back in there. Might go full screen so we can focus on this. So if everything's working, I can close that out, save it. No, let's see if I can get that bottom pane again. Oh. Yeah, bugger. Let's see if it works if I get rid of that. So I might have trouble reading the linting file. Yep. So that is what's causing the problem. For some reason, I might have put the wrong value in there. So let's say eslint vue.js.org and user guide. Is this for Vue 3? Maybe I'm looking at the wrong one. Oh no, it's got Vue 3 right. Yeah, so this is the one. And there's a part that talks about, yeah, here we go. Generate no on def warning. So I need to copy that and paste it in here. Isn't that what I had before? Yep, it's the same thing. All right, let's open that output channel. What's going on here? Environment key. All right, maybe I've set the wrong version in my package.json file. Oh, it's ESLint plugin view. That's the thing that I think I might have updated the wrong thing in my package.json. Yeah. Oh, crap. I can't undo it now. Oh, bugger. I forgot what it was before. All right. Damn it. We're going to have to say Quasar create example app and install that. In the meantime, let's go to GitHub Quasar. See if we can find the package dependencies in there. What would it be under? It would probably be under, I don't know, to be honest. Package.json. Lint. 7.4.0 seems to be what it's put on. Anyway, that's done, so we can double check it here. Example-app. And I just want to cat out package.json. Where is it? ESLint. So there we go. It's on that right there. So I'm going to copy that. Jump back into our app. Make sure we've got the correct version of ESLint. ESLint plugin view. That's the one we need to up to 8. Oh, gosh. All right, so let's run yarn now and see what that does. Hello, how do I say your name? Francisco. Thanks for joining. Hope you enjoyed a stream. We are working on some composable stuff, and we got a little stuck on linting, but I think it's almost done. Now I can check if it's working by doing that. I need my bottom bar again. What's it called? Move panel to bottom. Let me just have a quick crack at fixing this. We'll close this out, opening it up again. Give it a second to load. Actually, I know I can press Alt and get that. Yeah, so let's go View. And there we go. Okay, so saving that did reformat it. I don't think I want to use from refs here, but it's automatically doing that for me. So I might have to find a way to disable that. Yeah. But anyway, that's working now. And if I go into note card, there we go. Define props is actually working. Okay, great. So let's move on. With use model, we now want to pull out the ID as well. And let's come down here and let's say watch effect. And then we can basically say id.values equal to the note passed in dot, we'll just dot ID. Now we're going to need watch effect, so let's import it. Save that. And it's not note.id, it's going to be props.note.id, just to make sure they're both in sync. There we go. Now we can run Quasar dev. Gosh, this whole thing is spazzing out. There we go. That's better. Jump out of full screen. Oh no, I was already out of full screen. Throw that on the right. Open my browser. Throw that on that side. Close and start culling some of this stuff. Don't need that. Don't need that. We'll need that in a second. Okay, here we go. So we got some new linting errors, which is good. Error page is not happy. Why is it not happy? Okay, so the name of the component needs to be multi-word. So let's rename it to error page 404. Okay. And now that should be updated there, and it has been. And I don't know what that's all about. Might as well save that. And now what else have we got? Component name should always be. Yeah, so we don't need this anymore. In fact, we don't need any of that script because it's automatically going to name itself error page 404. We're still getting this error, but I think that is because in the routes.js, it's basically renaming it there. Oh no, import error page 404. So I might just have to do a Quasar restart on that server, or Quasar dev to restart the server. Give it a second. Now, what are we going to do when this is done? check that those components that we built are working. So let's throw that over there now. Looks like our server is not complaining anymore. So let's refresh that. Why is that the dashboard? Is that right? What happens if I try to go to the login page? Have I done something wrong here? Something is not working at all. Yeah, man, there's some funky business going on here. Oh, it's the hash part, I think. So let's go to slash dashboard. It's because I got rid of the hash in history mode. Yeah, okay, there we go. Okay, there, and so this is a form now. Sweet. We're ready to push on. So if I jump into our note card, I want to check if there has been a blur on the note form. So let's come in here and say at blur is equal to, we'll say handle blur, something like that. I have a function here that says handle blur, and we'll do a console.log blur. Now, I don't think that will work by default. No, so we now need to go into the note form, and when this blurs, we basically want to send that up the chain. So let's say at blur is equal to emit blur. Pretty sure that'll work. Save it. What's this problem though? Component emitted event blur, but it is neither declared in the emits. It is. I just did it there, I'm pretty sure. Let's try that again. Yeah, I just needed to restart. Cool. And I basically want to say, hey, when there's any blurring that occurs within that note form, then we're going to do an update. So we can now say here, update, and for update, we basically want to send it the new data here. Yeah, so we'll say update, and then we'll say note. Hang on, model.note. Really, I just want to send the note down like that. Because you can't model that. Okay, I've hit a problem here. We kind of need a form at this level. And this is where... Okay, let me give some background here. One of the problems we've run into is situations like this when you need to update the data. Because essentially what you'd have to do is make a form now that is modeled on this note form. And then when we're ready, we would then update it, but it kind of like makes it hard to keep everything in sync. So what we ended up doing is we ended up having this use model that also had, we added clone in here. And what clone basically is something you can use to update the form. How do I explain how clone works? Oh, my brain's getting a bit tired. This is a really important and really cool concept though when you can get it. So what happens is whenever the model changes, the clone then updates so that it's in sync with the model, okay? And whenever you do an update, rather than passing form data through there, whenever you do an update, it basically uses the clone to perform that update. Now, the reason this is cool is you fetch your data, model gets set to that data, and when the model gets set to that data, the clone also gets set to that data. And then all you have to do is change the clone. You've got this form that's already set and ready to go, and it has the latest data. And then when it's changed, you call update. It sends update to the back end, and then model gets updated with the response from the back end. It's kind of hard to explain this concept of a clone, but I'm just wondering if we can avoid using it for now and just have a form here instead. Might be easier. I know this is a really simple thing, a note-taking app, and a lot of this is overkill, but what I'm trying to do here, what I'm trying to achieve is a really clean solution to dealing with this data so that we can turn it into a package and then it can scale. You can start using this in larger projects. And it all starts with making this foundational stuff really gorgeous and easy to use. So anyway, for now, how about this? Let's say id.value is equal to that. And we'll do another watch effect for the form value. Now we might just do that when it's initially loaded. Still don't know how I'm going to tackle this. Anyway, let's think about it. Form is equal to an object that's got note in it, which is nothing by default. All right. Now, when we get a blur, we say update. It already knows the ID, so we just need to send through form.value. Now, the form's value is sent down here, form.note. So let's save that and see what happens. Okay, model is assigned a value, but never. All right, so this will begin by being model.value.note. Now we need ref, so let's pull that out of view. Okay, so it loads and the initial value of the note gets sent in there. But now when I update that, okay, so why is that not working? Okay, this can now be v-model note. Yep, cool. Now what we can do is we can say that when this is blurred, wait, is that already working? Is it working? Blur it, refresh the page. And it is. There we go. We've already done all of this. Now, the last thing we want to do probably is to get some loading spinners in there. And that's really easy because we've already implemented the logic for it. So we just say updating, pull that out of use model. And I guess, what's the best way to do it? Maybe like a spinner on the right side there. Yeah, we need to make this look prettier in a second anyway. So how about this? Q card section like that. And then we can have an absolute position spinner, Q-spinner. And I can say here, I'll put the spinner in the card. And then class is equal to, I believe it's like relative position, because I remember it being the opposite of what I thought it would be, position relative. It's actually relative position, I think. And then this can have a class equal to, I think it's absolute top right. Let's just see if that works and I'd get that spinner. All right, forget about updating for now. I'll work with you in a second. Can I get that spinner in the right spot? Yeah, okay, I can. That's what I want. And then we can basically add some margining in here or something. Hang on, first note form. I hate this. Let's make that border less for now. Yeah, there we go. Let's get that spinner looking good. So let's set the size equal to maybe small, which actually makes it a bit bigger, I think. Yeah, because the default size is like the text size. And now I can say on the class q dash margin top dash extra small, something like that. Or maybe small. Now let's go with extra small, and I might even make this extra small actually. Yep, and then Q dash margin right, also extra small. And then let's give it a nice color. Color is equal to whatever our primary color is. Yeah, there we go. So that's a pretty nice spinner. And then we just say updating. And we add a v-if here. V-if it's updating. Is it working? Dot, dot, dot. And it's so fast that you can barely even see the spinner. But if we were on a slower network, then that would be awesome. So I'm still not happy with this. Like, that's way too much code to me. What I'd love to get rid of is... Okay, I don't know. Some of it you can't really get rid of. Like, watch effect required. A lot of this is just the fact that I'm trying to abstract it really nicely. I want to be able to get rid of that form. So this form should be automatically generated on use model so that you can just pull it out like this form. I called that clone before. I don't like the word clone actually. I think I would prefer the word form. So basically I want to be able to pull form out of there and it will automatically be generated using the fields that are on that model. So that's one optimization we can do. Handle blur is good. I like being able to say, oh crap, there's something else I need to do on a blur. Oh sweet, I got this function. I can just tap in there and do it. Some people like to use it, the function directly. I always like to have a function sitting on my component that I can easily tap into. But yeah, this is actually pretty clean. The last thing I think I'd do to clean it up a bit more is to use Anthony Fu's global imports package. So let's say Anthony Fu, it's like called global import or something like that. Really cool. Let's look for the word global, view global API. Use view composition API globally. Is that what I'm thinking of? Instead of that, you get that. Yep, that's exactly what I want. So let's go ahead and install this. Installation, and we'll just do a yarn add on that. Let's close this out. Yarn add. Boom. By default, importing will register all common composition APIs to the global object if you want to have finer grained code. Yeah, okay, cool. So it does all that by default. I don't think it used to do that, but now I guess it does, which is really cool. So now, if you use this lint, it'll complain. Oh yeah, sorry, I've looked at the wrong one. I just realized that. Because yeah, I shouldn't need ESLint. All right, so let's go back to package.json. He created a more modern version of this that uses TypeScript to so you don't have to add linting for that kind of thing. So let's look for the word global. We're going to remove that. And let's just run a quick yarn to pick up those changes. And then we'll come down here and look at installing this. Yep, cool. So now we'll do a yarn add and we'll add the -d in there. Yarn add -d unplug in auto import. Sweet. Now we're using Quasar. There's the Quasar instructions. Basically want to grab that. Let's throw it on that side of the screen. Close this out. Open up quasar.conf. And we just add that in there like that. And then under build, where is it? Here it is. We got chain webpack, and this is where it's used. So we say chain.plugin like so. This is really sweet. I love this plugin. Let's save that. And then we want to give it the options, configuration. All right, so let's do the config now. Include view files, TypeScript, yeah, all that jazz, markdown file. Yeah, okay, that's fine. I'll just leave that as it is. And we'll use the view preset and we'll use the view router preset as well. And I might even make my own so that my composables get imported as well. That'd be really cool. Since I'm going to use them everywhere all the time, I'm happy to auto import them. So down here we can say import, give that an array like so, and then you can do your own custom result. Oh, you can say package name. Okay. How do I do my own ones here? I don't think it's hard. I think I might be able to just add an object in like this. You know what? It doesn't matter enough right now. I'm getting too excited about interesting, crazy stuff that I don't actually need. Quasar dev. But this is something you might want to do. Make it so that use model is auto imported as well. But anywho, this should mean that I can now get rid of watch effect and ref, and it will still work. So let's save that. Give this a second to load. And does it say something about the linter? I thought that it automatically generated a TypeScript file for you so you didn't end up with these linting problems. Might just have to scratch this and do it another time. Did I end up saving quasar.conf? I think I did. Yeah, let's try this again. Quasar dev. So view and view router should be auto imported. Define props. Hmm. All right, so maybe I do have to do this. Well, is he saying there that it's automatically generated? Yeah, if we come in here, ESLint RC auto import JSON is generated automatically. What am I missing here? So maybe I do need to add that in to enable it. So let's go back to quasar.conf.js. Enabled true. But then is it going to overwrite this? No, how does it work? It's rebuilding the app. Let's just close it and try running dev again. Ugh, getting a bit tired. I might finish up soon. Is that a second to load? Okay, maybe not. Could have sworn that I got this working before without having to do any of this. Any of this extra stuff. All right, so it's saying options.eslint.rc and modify your ESLint configuration file. Doesn't look like it's being generated though. Nah, you know what? I'm going to leave this for another day. It's just not important enough for now. I got a little carried away. Let's save that, close this out, start it up again, and we'll be back to where we were. And then we can go back to that file, and we'll just do some undoing to get those back again. So I think this will do for now. We've done good today. We've got this notes taking app. We've got a really beautiful API for working with all of this. Working, yep, so you can easily do that. Of course, you'd want to work a little bit more on the UI for it all. But that's pretty much it. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. I've really enjoyed this journey, and I hope that sometime soon I can take this concept, these composables here for working with Supabase, and basically flesh it out a little bit more and turn it into a package that people can use. So once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next